as you get closer to the deadline, we had Jonas on yesterday, and Jonas was teasing, his article in The Athletic with Chris Johnston about, the 10 centers that they believe the Leafs should be going for.
Did that come out today?
It did come out today.
Why wouldn't he just say that centers, like teasing it? You're on a show as a guest, just like, what the hell is he doing?
I don't. I'm going to have a conversation with Jonas.
Yeah,
I love Jonas. He's a dear friend of mine. I've known him forever.
Yes.
You can't be coming on the show and not giving us something.
Right.
You can tease it because we'll promote it for you. And here's the thing. The list, very good list, very well written, very detailed. I read it this morning. None of it is unique to what other people are already suggesting. They have Ryan O'Reilly as the number one target. Everyone's buzzing about that. We'll get into it. Brock Nelson at 2, Yanni Gourde at 3. What I found intriguing is they had Trent Frederick at 4, Charlie Coyle at 5, both of the Bruins. I just don't see the Bruins in a position where they're going to sell, and if they do, that they're going to sell to the Maple Leafs.
Well, isn't this
Frederick's
what is this list? Like 1 through 10, is that based on like they should get or available?
That was kind of how it was described, like the likelihood of it happening and also meshing it with what would be the perfect fit. And listen, the way they described O'Reilly, I would absolutely agree with. I don't know if he wants to come back here. I don't know. Nobody really knows. Only Ryan O'Reilly knows that, and I'm sure Brad Treliving knows by now. He probably knew when he left, how he felt, and he might know how he feels about the idea of coming back. He's got this year and 2 years after it, and he's a really good player. And he's a winner, and he won with Craig Berube. He won a Conn Smythe with Craig Berube. And he steps in, and he's a middle six center winger that can do it all, and you can rely on him. I can totally accept that. Now, what the price would be is where the Leaf fans would all of a sudden start getting uncomfortable because it would cost you a lot. Like it's going to cost you a lot to get a Ryan O'Reilly or a Brock Nelson, who was number 2 on that list. Yanni Gourde, I don't think nearly as much.
How about number 9 on that list?
Nazem Kadri in Calgary? Yeah. Is that who it was?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
There's lots of years and money left on that, isn't there?
There's 3 years at 7. I mean, you'd need to be very creative, but I mean, I think that's a pie-in-the-sky wish list, as far as getting him back, but he is the type of player that you need,
Man,
really.
Nas coming back to Toronto, like O'Reilly coming back would be cool, but he was here for such a short period of time. And he never felt like a Maple Leaf, right?
Nas would be a vibe.
Nas, like the idea of Kadri returning it would not be Wendell Clark-esque. It would not be the same hype. Like when Wendell returned to the Gardens in the 90s, it was absurd. When Gilmore was acquired at the deadline, and he never got to play in Toronto, which is still sickening that he got hurt that game in Calgary, that was something else. Like, man, they reacquired Dougie Gilmore, and he's coming back, and it's going to be amazing. Right. Nas would be a step below that, but it would be wild. I really think the vibe in the city and the vibe down at the rink, put the cap aside, put all that kind of stuff, which has to be considered if you're Treliving clearly.
If we're just talking a vibe
if
trade.
you're talking a vibe check and fans saying, man, they got Nazem Kadri coming home, and Nas is back, and I have a pretty good idea that he would love to be a Maple Leaf. That doesn't mean he loves being a Flame. He loves being a Flame. He's committed to Calgary. That's not. Yeah. I'm not reporting like, hey, Nas is.
I think he'd be down with the vibe
I think he'd
himself.
be pretty cool with it.
All we're doing is talking about this list. The only crazy thing is what if he hit somebody head first from the boards for a third time?
Game 2 in Boston in the same corner.
Because wasn't that the same corner?
Exact same corner.
Same place, same corner, which is insane still to talk about. But
don't throw that mojo out in the air where it's a positive story. The idea of Nazem Kadri
I'm joking. We're talking about this is a list that Jonas made up.
And Chris Johnston. CJ's also on the show. I don't remember CJ.
Collaboration, they say.
Collaboration? Okay, I didn't know that.
Right.
But I mean, this is pie in the sky, and we talked about it. It's wish list, all of that type of stuff. I still think, isn't Trent Frederick he's a winger?
He's a combo kind of.
He's a combo. He's a really interesting. He's an interesting player.
Yeah, he's not having a great year. No one really is in Boston, but he is
tough.
A tough and playoff performer.
Yeah.
He burned them last year.
Yeah.
Remember, he burned them a couple of different times.
But there's lots of guys on that list you could see and make a case for that would help. Just depends on what the cost of doing business is for them. Like
absolutely.
I think I said to you guys, The Lawton kid out of Philadelphia, I really liked. I don't know if I said that off air.
I love
Yeah.
that guy too. I
He's
love
on
him.
this list. They got him at
Yeah.
7, Scott Lawton.
Yeah, I
How is
like
he at
him.
7 and Trent Fredericks at 4?
Well, I guess it's Frederick's got a lower cap, and he's a UFA at the end of
Well,
the year.
and I think Frederick brings a unique a skill set because he's got skill. He could skate, but he's tough as nails. Like he crosses over to, into that Tom Wilson territory where he can handle big bodies and stand up. And it's rare to have a guy who plays in the top 6 like that, right? Like I watched that Washington game last night. Those guys, Edmonton deserved to win. I think the chances were like 22-10 or something. But Washington gets it done, and they've got a massive team, like physically.
Yeah, they're big boys.